Right, good morning everyone. Welcome to this week's video. Today we're out in the wilderness. This place is really overgrown recently. We're out with the Omnia stove today, so we're going to do a traditional South African recipe called Bobotie. Right, welcome to this week's video guys, thanks for joining us. We're down by the River Waveney today on a piece of land that we've got a permission to use. Today we're going to be using the Omnia stovetop oven to create a traditional South African recipe called Bobotie. We had to go using the Omnia stove the other week on the Anave Frontier stove, but that was a bit of a struggle to try and keep the Anave stove as hot as it needed to create the heat to conduct into the oven. It did work, but we were burning hardwood, so it was really difficult to try and get the heat done. So today we're going to be using a gas stove, which is absolutely perfect for this Omnia stove. Right, so we're cooking bobotie. You might not have heard of bobotie. Bobotie is a typical South African dish. It comes from sort of Cape Malayan sort of origins, and it's a mutton based curry. Obviously mutton, I can't get hold of any, so we're using lamb today. So what we need for this recipe is the following. So we've got 500 grams of lamb mince. You need about 3 slices of bread. We've got a jar of spiced chutney, 1 egg. There's about 3 teaspoons of garam masala I've made myself, 3 teaspoons of turmeric, 1 white onion, some oil to brown and fry off your mince, and some milk. Right then, so bobotie is a baked curry, so we're going to be baking it in the Omnia oven, but you'll also need a frying pan as well just to brown off your mince and your onions. Okay, so without further ado, let's get stuck in. So the first thing we're going to need to do is just chop up our onion. So I just want quite small bits for the onion. And then onion in. We'll use a whole onion for this one today. Right, and we'll just sweat and brown the onions off. And then the next thing that we need to do with our pieces of bread, we can do this now. I'm literally just going to take the crust off this. Cue the dog in the shot. So we basically just broke up 3 rounds of bread there, and then what we're going to do is just pour this milk into the bread so that the bread soaks all of that up. And then we'll leave that, and then we're just going to brown these off a little bit further. And then in goes the lamb mince. So like I say, this is a baked curry, but we need to just brown this all off first, because we've got some other bits that we need to do with this mince as well. Right, so now we'll put in about half of that garam masala. This is where you need smell-o-vision. So just going to brown this mince off and just mix that garam masala in. So I just put a little sprinkle of salt in. So what we're going to do is we're going to brown this off. We've got the chutney to put into this, and then we've got the bread to go into this. So that's the base of the curry there. And then basically on top of the curry, when it's going to be baked, you've got an egg wash which is going to go over the top. So if you haven't seen the Omnia oven, so this is a stovetop oven. So basically inside of here you've got all of the accessories inside of here. You've got this muffin mould here. You've got this silicone ring. This is what we're going to be baking in today. And then you've got this rack that it comes with today. So this is perfect if you like reheating like par-break breads, or if you're cooking fish, meats, croissants you can do inside of there. So anything that you would use a grill in an oven for, but we're not going to be using that neither. So this is what we're going to pour our curry into. So the thing is with lamb's quite a fatty meat, as we all know. So once this is done, I'm going to just drain the oil out of this and then get the bread and everything else into it. But we're pretty much pink there. at the minute. I think we'll have a little bit of more garam masala in there. And then I always like a little bit of colour, so we'll stick a little bit of turmeric in. And we'll just let that heat through. Then we'll drain the fat off, and then we'll put the rest of the ingredients in. Right, so all we need now is just a good dollop of chutney. I'm just going to turn that heat down. Turn that right down to simmer now. And now what we need to do is add the bread into this. So what we're going to do with the bread here, so this has been soaking in the milk, so all I'm going to do is just squeeze all of the milk out of this bread, and then that's just going to be crumbled up into the curry. And we're going to keep the milk as well, because we're going to mix that with the egg to make the egg wash for the top of the curry. And there we go, so that's the meat mix all done, so we'll turn that off. We'll leave that to one side. So we've got the milk left over that we used with the bread earlier on, so what I'm going to do now is just crack the egg into there. A little bit of turmeric I like to stick into this. And then we're just going to mix this up just to make an egg wash. Right, so we've got the oven on the stove here, so what we're going to do now is just wait for that just to preheat. Obviously this is the mould that we're going to be cooking in. Remember, the meat and everything that we've done there is already pre-cooked, so the only thing that's realistically got to cook is just the egg wash that's on the top of the curry. But it's also nice just to leave this on just a small heat inside of the oven there, just to slowly bake. So we'll get the meat into this and then we'll get the egg wash on. And then we'll just push that down so we can get that equal all the way around. The next thing that we've got to do is just pour the egg wash over the top of that curry. And then the only thing else we've got to do is just to lay the bay leaves on the top, and that's ready to go in the oven. Right, so this is basically ready to go in the oven. The one thing I will say, remember, this is going to be roasting hot, so always use a set of gloves when lifting stuff in and out of the oven. And then we're just going to set the curry down inside. This smells absolutely fantastic coming out of here. If you're interested in having one of these ovens, we're doing a giveaway on Instagram, and that's courtesy of Omnia. So please follow the link in the description below to the post on Instagram. Please follow myself, follow Omnia Sweden, and literally just comment on the post on Instagram, I want one of these, and then we're going to do a draw at the end of June. And the one thing I must just say is this is literally just open to people in the UK and Europe postal addresses. It's been about 10 minutes at the moment, so let's have a look and see what it looks like. Absolutely fantastic. Right, so I'm just heating up some water on the fire here. All I'm going to do is just stick the pre-cooked rice into the water with the turmeric just to heat that up, and we're going to serve that up with a bobotie. Right, so all done, so that's hot, so all I need to do is just drain the rice and then we're going to serve up. Right, you're going to come and have some dinner? Mm-hmm. Right. So I'll have a little bit of rice. And curry. Right, so here we go. So, bobotie, cooked in the Omnia stovetop oven. What do you think?
Good, sweet.
Sweet. And it's got all the chutney inside of it, and that's why it's sweet. Thanks for watching this week's video. So there we go, that is bobotie done in the Omnia oven. So in the description you'll find a link to Omnia, you'll find a link to the Instagram giveaway, and then of course you'll find the method and the recipe to actually make the bobotie itself. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button just here, and then as always there's a couple of videos to take a look at, and we'll see you next week.